ว่า meeting of concern ในช่วงของการ start evaluate นะครับในหลายๆเรื่องเนี่ยไม่ทราบว่า action ที่เขาทำณขณะนี้เป็นอย่างไรคือเหมือนกับว่า feed additive เนี่ยเขาบอกว่าเวลา authorize ทีนึงเนี่ยมันจะ authorize 10 years ใช่ไหมครับนี่ในช่วงที่มันยังไม่ครบกำหนด10 years ที่จะ expire เนี่ยแล้วเขา meetings of concern มาเช่นเรื่องของ resistance เรื่องของอะไรที่มันอาจจะ toxic ต่างๆเนี่ยเขาก็ยังต้องปล่อยไว้อย่างนั้นก่อนหรือว่าเขามี action แล้วครับ
Yeah, I think we have to ask Claudia, according to if we set the authorization of the feed additive with 10 years, but let's say late of the 10 years, let's say 8 years, they got some resistance.
Yes.
And you said you have a theme of a concern as well. You immediately shut up for that authorization or just wait until 10 years and do renewal for that authorization.
Okay. Yeah, so in the case of the authorization for 10 years, we are also asking for some post-market monitoring. So we are going to evaluate this information at the end of the 10 years. If in the meantime we identify something, but this will be identified mainly by the member states through the RASF, because EFSA is not controlling, we don't have any mandate to control, to check if the product is okay or not. We will receive this information from other means, or monitoring data, or the RASF information, or through the Commission, or through a member state. Then in that case, of course, EFSA has the possibility to act very fast, producing an opinion, giving the opinion to the Commission. If we identify in the general scientific literature that there is an antimicrobial resistance, for example, of one additive, EFSA also has the obligation, according to Regulation 178, to act and to preserve the safety for the animal and for humans. In this case, EFSA has the obligation to immediately make an opinion through a self-task activity. So EFSA will task itself and will produce an opinion stating this information and giving this information, because it's up to the Commission then to take a decision, an immediate decision to take out the product of the market. Let's put also the other characteristic. We identify that there is a new disease and we need an urgent authorization for the feed additive. This we can do it also. These are the provisions of Article 15 in the 1831. We can, the Commission, after an opinion made by EFSA, they can make a short authorization of 5 years in case there is something urgent. So we have windows for all of these different cases, or to withdraw or to add, always with the support of the Commission, because EFSA cannot ban, we cannot withdraw, we can only advise, and the Commission will take the decision. They are the risk managers, they measure the decision and all of the other economical impact of the decision, but it's up to them to do it.
So maybe I asked the wrong person. I should ask Dr. Gurru. Instead, you have to make decision immediately to stop for the authorization or not?
I mentioned that already in my slides, that we have an Article 53 and 54 of the food law, which is 178 of 2002. This allows to take immediate so-called safeguard action. That means we don't need a full opinion of the EFSA, but only a certain statement. It might be that, for instance, in another country we have problems with the feed additives or with a substance that may be used as a feed additive, and that this gives a sort of a totally different view on the use of the feed additives. And then we could also react immediately and say and ban that substance temporarily, at least until we know more about the problem related to it. And we would then ask EFSA for a full opinion to look at all the data available, but this will not be possibly like in 3 weeks, which we normally take this kind of safeguard measures shorter than that. But we will give EFSA some more reasonable time to look at the material and to make then a more appropriate suggestion on how to deal with the problem, and then we would maybe change the additive entry, maybe leave it like it is, or maybe just only change some of the specifications in the registry and in the authorization, depending on what kind of additive it is.
I see.
May I have additional question? I wonder about the present status of things of concern that Claudia showed in your slide, such as Bacillus cereus that you mentioned that it have antibiotic resistant or toxigenic potential. How about present status in your regulation?
How about what? Sorry.
Present
You withdrawn it?
the present
The
situation
present status.
of this product, you mean? Huh?
It can marketing, such as Bacillus cereus, that you found that I thought this is the evaluated by EFSA.
Yes, after the opinion in the Bacillus cereus, the Commission made a regulation suspending the product from the market. Currently, it's suspended, and they are, let's say, on a standby until we receive new data. The applicant stated that we will receive the data at the end of this month, at the end of September. Once we receive the data, EFSA will make an opinion and give it back to the Commission. Depending, of course, on the outcome of this information, the Commission could decide to completely withdraw the product from the market, or if we have data that will indicate something different, the Commission will take the appropriate decision. For the time being, it's suspended from the market.
Thank you.
Okay, I think this I have to ask Dr. Gudrun regarding the herb, that a lot of herb come from EU. So how about the classification of the herb in the feed additives or not? Or what else that you classify the herb?
They are classified as feed additives, so they have to undergo a complete authorization.
I see.
Yes.
Complete dossier as well?
Complete dossier.
Toxicity?
Yes.
But in the past, no, right?
No, in the past, no, but now we are going to start with the evaluation of all the botanicals and botanical preparations. So we started initially with the chemically defined flavorings, and then we are taking this as the basis to evaluate the botanical. There are different initiatives in EFSA also to work with the botanicals. So, for example, the scientific committee is preparing a compendium on botanical products, so small monographs on different botanicals that will help us in the evaluation, because here the problem is, again, the data. We will have maybe very, very few data. There is also another initiative in EFSA, which is we are trying to establish what we call, maybe you know, in the States it's called GRAS, recognized generally as safe. In Europe, we have something that we call the QPS, Qualified Presumption of Safety. We are trying to use the qualified presumption of safety for botanicals. It's still not very clear if we can do it, but this could be a good mean to evaluate those massive number of substances. We have currently 247 botanical and botanical preparations to be evaluated. Yes.
I see. So we have to evaluate every thing right now, right? Not the same as before. Huh? Now it's a new horizon of the EU. So it come to the probiotic. You just mentioned your concern regarding the antibiotic resistance. Do you mean every probiotic you have to, submit for that profile?
In feed, yes.
In feed?
Yes. In feed, yes. Again, here we can use the qualified presumption of safety approach. So it means that if we have a probiotic or a lactobacillus, we have first to identify clearly the strain. We classify the species, the strain of the lactobacillus. We identify that there is no antimicrobial resistance. So these are two preconditions to be able to use the qualified presumption of safety. So the qualified presumption of safety doesn't mean that all lactobacillus available here are safe. It says that if a lactobacillus has no antimicrobial resistance and is well defined, so his name is Lactobacillus plantarum, blah, 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 this additive could be considered safe, and we do not need data on the safety for the product, not safety for the target animal, and we do not need data for the safety for the consumer. So this is another way that we are using quite a lot. For example, for silage, we identify a lot of silage, we apply the qualified presumption of safety, and then we only have to ask data on the efficacy of the silage additive.
I see. So also this probiotic, you have BSA as well. You apply for the BSA?
No, not for the brand-specific approvals, generally not for them. But for the generic, we used to have this approach. In the case of brand-specific approval, in general, we have the data, all the data behind. So we could use the QPS, but as there is an applicant behind, this applicant has took the time and invest a lot of efforts, and they produce data. So if we have data, we evaluate, at least we take a look to the data that we have. It doesn't mean that we need it always, but probably the applicants have been working on this since more than 20 years. So if they have the data, they say, well, we give this to EFSA. But yeah, in general, the QPS is used for generic.
Yeah, if you said no for the BSA for this kind of product, how do you know that the generic product will not have any antibiotic resistance?
That's why we have to evaluate, and we have to clearly identify the strain, the species and the strain. And the Commission is going to give an authorization to a generic product, but linked with a specific species and strain. So it's a generic, non-generic. It's a
เป็นไงฮะสับสนเปล่า ผมถาม เอาอย่างนี้เราจะรู้ได้อย่างไรถูกไหมครับถ้าโปรไบโอติกถ้าเราจะมาใช้กันเนี่ยเพราะว่าเขาบอกว่าเขากังวลเรื่องของการดื้อยาถูกไหมฮะนี่เขาบอกว่าเขาก็เน้นเฉพาะสเตรนสปีชีส์กับสเตรนเท่านั้นเองว่าโอเคมันเป็นสิ่งที่เขาapprove มาแล้วนะครับไม่ใช่เป็นสเตรนที่แตกต่างไปจากนี้ซึ่งถ้าเป็นสเตรนที่แตกต่างจากนี้แน่นอนก็ต้องมา evaluate กันว่ามันมี antibiotic resistant หรือเปล่ามีการดื้อยาของยาปฏิชีวนะหรือเปล่านะครับมีคำถามอื่นอีกไหมครับไม่มีหมอสัตย์ศรีเชิญ
ครับเกี่ยวกับเรื่องของคอกซิดิโอสแตทนะครับที่ปัจจุบันเป็นฟีดแอดดิทีฟเนี่ยไม่ทราบว่ามันจะต้องประเมินค่าสถานะของ MRL ทุกตัวไหมครับหมายความว่าต้องมี MRL status for coccidiostatin ทุกตัวไหมครับ
Yeah, the question is all the coccidiostatin. Do you need every product get the MRL in every tissue as well, or just certain MRL? When you talk
for
about
animal species
for the target species.
target
Okay.
species
yes, we need an MRL for the different target species. But we have something good here. In the case, for example, of Lactalozid, we have MRLs established already by the regulation. So we have the MRLs for Lactalozid for poultry, and these MRLs are used for its use as a veterinary medicine, and they are going to be used also for control as a feed additive. So one MRL will hopefully, and will continue like this, and this is the logic, let's say, and the common sense, that we will have one MRL for the specific active ingredient. What we will need every time, if you have then another product on a another Lactalozid, different from the one that is on the market, what the panel will request you is data to ensure that your product, your Lactalozid, will comply with the MRLs already established. So maybe you don't need the full package of data set. Maybe you will need only a bioequivalence study. So we show that your Lactalozid is equivalent to the previous Lactalozid, and the residues will remain within the MRLs. So here we cannot use the data from one applicant from the previous applicant to your benefit, to your Lactalozid. So we are always moving between data protection and we try not to ask this data again. There is another exception, let's say, in the Article 20, which is on the data protection. Normally, we don't use the data from one applicant for the benefit of another, except if we identify that it's a safety concern. Then we can ask the Commission the permission to disclose the data protection clause. This has never happened, I have to confess, but we have still this provision in the regulation. If there is any problem, we can still have this caveat. Otherwise, what we are doing now is you have your Lasalo seed and you want to use the data of this other Lasalo seed. We say to both applicants, please, dear applicants, put you in contact, make a data sharing, and let us know if we can use your data for your benefit. This is, of course, a negotiation between you both, and there is an investment behind, but this is a possibility that we give to both applicants. Sometimes we succeed, some other times we are not. So everything is possible here.
ครับ
ต่อนิดนึงครับคืออย่างเวลาประเมินค่า MRL เนี่ยครับถ้าหากว่าเป็นของกรณีของยาเนี่ย veterinary medicinal product เนี่ยผมเข้าใจว่าเป็นทาง committee for veterinary medicinal product เป็นคนประเมินทีนี้พอมันอาจจะเป็นยาตัวเดียวกันเนี่ยนะฮะแล้วเอามาใช้เป็น feed additive ด้วยเนี่ยดูเหมือนว่า EFSA เป็นคนประเมินซึ่งตรงนี้ก็เลยสงสัยว่าตรงนี้ลักษณะของการตกลงแล้วค่า MRL ที่จะประกาศออกมาใช้เนี่ยจะเอาตัวเลขจากคนไหนแล้วถ้าหากว่ามันเป็นตัวเลขที่มีความแตกต่างกันเนี่ยจะใช้ของใครฮะหรือว่าจะแบ่งกันว่าถ้าหากว่ามันคือถ้าโดยเฉพาะถ้ามันเป็นตัวเดียวกันแล้วเราใช้ทั้งเป็นยาด้วยเป็น feed additive ด้วยเนี่ยจะเอาอันไหนครับ
รอให้เขาฟังเดี๋ยวดูว่าเขาจะแปลเท่าเหมือนกับผมเปล่านะ Claudia, the question is when the one ingredient right used in the veterinary side and this ingredient also used in the feed additive. So they submit for the MRL. If it is different between these two categories, how could you compromise or use the other? I mean, which one that you select for the MR?
Okay, no, this, we had a previous experience like this, but remember when you put scientists together, we can have many different views. So it's really amazing how much we can have. We are very creative as scientists. This has happened in the past. This is not what the European Commission, it is not what the legislation is willing to have. Two different MRLs, this is something that we cannot manage. We cannot manage. So this happened with Monensin. We met the EMA, the people from the CVMP, the veterinary medicinal products. We discuss, we present the data, we present our view, and we arrive to an agreement and to common MRLs. So here we have common MRLs for Monensin as veterinary medicine and as feed additives. Some other cases, I think with Lasalosid also, they are willing to reduce a bit the MRLs from the veterinary medicine side. So in that case, we will also restart the same discussion to agree to similar MRLs without compromising, of course, safety at all. So it's just a question of, sometimes it's a question of reanalyze the data, look, discuss, see which is their view. Maybe we have different acceptable daily intakes, but we compensate with different safety factors, so we arrive to same MRLs. This has happened, and we are not willing to have, we cannot, I don't think, we cannot have different MRLs for the same product. It doesn't have any sense.
So that means only one MRL.
Yes.
Both.
Yes, and I think the Commission...
And for the safety, for the consumer, right?
For the consumer, yes. The Commission, I don't think they will allow anyway two different MRLs.
Okay. Yeah, come back to the MRL again regarding the same active ingredient. The same active ingredient, Claudia, like salinomycin. There one product, BSD1 product, 1 day withdrawal only, and the other product, 3-day withdrawal. What does it mean?
Well, it means that according to the data, those are brand-specific approvals. The data indicates that for one product we need 1 day withdrawal, and for the other we need 3 days withdrawal or 5 days withdrawal.
I
It
see.
is
You
not
mean
the ideal.
related to their dossier?
Exactly. It is related to the dossier, yeah. And the product, yes.
Product. Okay. Any more questions, sir? Ladies and gentlemen, please. You hungry? I don't think so, huh? We still have the 7 minutes left.
I think we need food, probably. Enough feed for now, probably. We need food.
I got some question. Let me see. I jot down the. I see. I think this one from Dr. Kurun. You said regarding the BSA, some BSA is, let's say, you consider about the manufacturing side or not. According to in Thailand, our FDA just consider for the manufacturing side instead of the brand. So, for example, the product come from Europe and the product come from China, but the same brand, any different? You consider it's different or not? The brand name is the same, but the manufacturing site different.
Oh, no, then the same normally. I think it's the same. They say the same trade name, manufacturing to different countries.
If we have to know that it's really the same product, huh? That's important.
Yeah, same product.
Whether,
They said it's the same brand, is same product.
Yeah, you have to be sure that it's really the same product, so that the specifications of the product are the same, and that the product is identical. So, if something is authorized under a brand name in China, it might have a different specification behind it. So that you have to be sure. So that's why we want to have absolutely the importer, and we want to have a marketing authorization holder in Europe, so that we can ask this kind of questions exactly to that marketing authorization holder. Because otherwise, if we just would have to go back to China and write to these people who are producing it in China, that would create a terrible administrative nightmare, where we wouldn't have the feeling that we're still under control. So that's exactly why we have this requirement that somebody has to be resident in Europe who is responsible for the product.
I see. That means the marketing authorization have to consider for that, right? Yeah. Any more questions, sir? Lady? I haven't got any question from the lady yet. Please. Only gentlemen. We still have 5 minutes, right? Okay.
Is there anybody in the audience who is dealing with the control of the residues of additives and?
Yes, for sure. They got some authorization. Dr. Tu, where are you? Yeah, is the authorization for the feed additives. No. And anybody from FDA? Please show yourself, madam. Or gentlemen, please. Yeah, actually, we have to make a clear cut regarding the classification.
Yes.
In Thailand, we classify the feed additive or the coccidiostat as the medicinal product. So that's why we're confusing ourselves as well when we contact with the European Union. Yes, please.
ก่อนหน้านี้เหมือนกับมีแนวโน้มเคยว่าจะย้ายคอกซิดิโอสแตทเนี่ยให้ไปเป็นยาตาม EU regulation นะฮะตอนนี้เรื่องนี้ก็คือตกลงแล้ว
เป็นยาตาม EU regulation ไม่ EU regulation บอกว่าคอกซิโดสแตทไม่เป็นยา
แต่ว่าก่อนหน้านี้เมื่อสักหลายๆปีก่อนหน้านี้ฮะมันเคยมีการจะพูดกันเหมือนกับว่าจะ move หรือว่าจะมีการยุติการใช้อะไรอย่างเงี้ยคือมันมีที่เคยได้ยินนะอาจจะข่าวผิดข่าวถูกไม่แน่ใจก็คือ1จะยุติการใช้หรือ2คือจะ move จาก feed additive regulation เนี่ยไปเป็น wet map regulation ตกลง2เรื่องนี้ถือว่าจบไปแล้วใช่ไหมฮะ
Okay, that's come to the point that I asked you before regarding the EU will stop for the coccidiostat or not
Can
as
I-
a feed additive. No?
Yes. Can I leave the suspense a little bit and reply to you a little bit later? Because my next presentation, it relates specifically on
Yeah.
this. So we can go for lunch.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah, I agree. How there? Are you agree, Kun Sirikanya? I have to ask her first. She's my boss. Huh? The speaker are already allowed to have lunch. Please. Next, for the afternoon, she said she's gonna reply all the questions that we have right now. Okay, sir, please.
ค่ะ Ladies and gentlemen, this is the perfect time for lunch. But before that, may I now give you the information about the place for lunch. Places for lunch are separated into 2 rooms, namely Gamon Tip 1 and Dong Gamon. You can see the rooms name on the coupon. And we would like to have you back at the meeting room at 14 p.m. Please enjoy your lunch time. ขอขอบคุณท่านวิทยากรและก็ท่านผู้ดำเนินรายการนะคะ ต่อไปจะขออนุญาตประชาสัมพันธ์เกี่ยวกับสถานที่รับประทานอาหารกลางวันค่ะ ห้องอาหารจะแบ่งออกเป็น2ห้องค่ะ ตามสีของคูปองนะคะห้องอาหารค่ะมีห้องกมลทิพย์1คือสีม่วงและห้องดวงกมลสีเขียวนะคะสำหรับท่านที่ยังไม่ได้รับคูปองสามารถรับได้ที่จุดรีจิสเตอร์นะคะทั้งนี้เราจะกลับมาพร้อมกันที่ห้องสัมมนาอีกครั้งในเวลา 14 นาฬิกาค่ะ ขอให้ทุกท่านมีความสุขกับการรับประทานอาหารค่ะ ขอบพระคุณค่ะ
ต้องมีความอร่อยนะไม่ใช่มีความสุข แต่อร่อยก็มีความสุขนะครับ โอเคครับเชิญครับ Please. Thank you. Thank you.
Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Oh, your dad is rich and your ma is good looking. So hush, little